Welcome back to the Be Unexpected podcast. And today we have a little recap into some Husker football and talking about what's looking forward and reflecting on some of the games past. And yeah, what's your first thought? I say Husker football to you. What's your first instinct? First thought?
We have a chance to make
Yeah.
a bowl game.
Yeah.
500.
Yeah, we're
So,
there.
I mean,
We're
at this
there.
at this point, we maybe like in the past, we'd be like two and like 1-3 or 2-4 or whatever. But I think and conference win, like to get a conference win, like that's huge because losing
Yeah.
to Minnesota right away, and then obviously we beat Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech, which is the two games we should win. But just to get a conference win, like, all right, we still have a shot to like win our side, which is honestly
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
So
it's like the years previous, those are the games we would have lost. I don't remember what the scenarios, but we the second half, the turnovers. So I think we got 3 points out of we were on their red zone twice. We were on like the 50 and then the 40, and out of all that stuff, we came up with 3 points. And then the previous years, that's games we would have lost. So we're
yeah,
thankful we came away with the win. But it was an ugly win. But it's at this point in Nebraska football, a win is a win, right?
exactly. Like we
Yeah.
won. People are still kind of mad about it, and I get it. Like we didn't play very good in the second half. Like it felt like we did everything we could to possibly maybe get Illinois back into the game
Right.
by like fumbling, and I mean it was honestly a terrible offensive game on both ends. Like it was pretty bad. And but we like won. So it's like, why don't we just be happy that we won? We won in like the first half. It looked like we might score like
Mm.
24, 30, 40 points because there was that kickoff that they fumbled and we got it and we scored like right away. We we were up 17-0.
Mm.
And it just felt like, man, we could score 30 to 40 points. And
Yeah.
and then it didn't help when like Grant went out either because he sprained his ankle, I think, a little bit. And it's just like, oh crap, who are we gonna put in? And honestly, injuries like because Washington got hurt right away, so that didn't help. He's always like, first down for us, like automatically when we throw to him, and so man, just we're really low on wide receivers, which makes me nervous.
Yeah. So it's crazy to think. So you remember the first drive? So they drove all the way down to the 1 yard line, and Nebraska stuffed them. And then from like that point, I remember going in my eyes like, here we go again. Illinois is going to run away with it, and how that the first half went really well, and just how the
Yeah,
defense stood up, and how they've really saved our butt a lot this year in so many situations.
yeah,
Uh, but then thankful for that because of so many injuries on the offense. And I will say that Rule and Satterfield have done a good job with, I mean, all the injuries. Now you got Washington, Castaneda, Ramir Johnson, Gabe Irvin, Sims getting hurt. So all those guys on offense, and to still sit at 3-3. I mean, well, it's like if you told me this at the start of the year, I mean, I would have took it. But even though like you're frustrated the Colorado losses in the moment, you
yeah,
think, oh yeah, I 3-3 at the bye week. I definitely will take it.
yeah, for sure. I mean, first half of the season go 500, which is good because like let's face it, the first half of the season's hard because you don't know what
Yeah.
you got the first couple games. I don't know why Big Ten always wants us to play a conference game right away, but they always
Hmm.
got that. So that's harder than playing Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech, which I wish that would have been our first game. But yeah, but 500, that's a good way to start. And hopefully, I mean, if we go like 500 again, we'll make a bowl game. So, I mean, that's what's crazy is now we only need like three more wins to make a bowl.
Yeah.
And I hope maybe our offense will change once the bye week is passed because maybe like they'll have time to like fix some things, fix the fumbling and the snapping. Like
Mhm.
it seems like they just can't get the snap down sometimes. And just like, what are we doing? Like we gotta hang on to the ball, man.
Yeah.
That's
You think Nebraska should be able, I say should be able to beat
yeah,
Northwestern and Purdue, and then that leaves okay. You got to win one more game out of Michigan State, Maryland, Wisconsin, Iowa, and
yeah,
so I'm not saying those are easy, but the way Iowa's looked and the way Michigan State has looked is not good. I don't. Wisconsin will be tough, and Maryland looked pretty good against Ohio State for a while. Those will be
Yeah.
two tough games, but I feel like if you win these two games, you can either beat Iowa or you can beat Michigan State. So
Yeah.
I hope we're not sitting at 5 wins going to that Iowa game the last week. But
Yeah. That would be nerve-wracking. I
but
mean,
it'd be
exciting.
cool then too if they won. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be
So
cool way to end the regular season. We make a bowl. I mean, our what's crazy is like you think about teams like Iowa and Wisconsin, like what are they known for? Like running the ball. Well, that's where our defense has been really good at, like stopping the run.
mhm,
Like I think they said Illinois' biggest drive was that first drive on the run, like running the ball, and then we just like stuffed them for the rest of the game.
mhm,
I heard like they had like 23 yards rushing that drive, and we held them like 21 yards rushing. Like
mhm.
again, so
Yeah.
hopefully our defense obviously is carrying us, and we'll carry, and Rule said it like we're a defensive team,
Mhm.
so hopefully our defense will just get better. But do you think like part of the reason we don't like always do well in the passing game is like probably because of the chemistry between Harbaugh and or Heinrich's not Harbaugh,
Yeah.
Heinrich and his wide receivers because they're all injured, dude.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that's got to be hard. Like if you're a quarterback and like you throwing at someone, like Washington's out now.
Mhm.
Heinrich was doing well with him, and now he's got to find another guy to connect with.
Yeah. So if you think about it, going into the season, who are your best two returning wide receivers? Is Washington and is Isaiah Garcia. You know those two guys are out, and
Yeah,
then you still have Kemp, and then the younger guys too with Jamal Coleman and those other younger ones, and then yeah, but it's not easy when you're losing your top guys. So I will say though, Heinrich has done a good job of, you know, making some good throws and escaping the pocket and doing the option, which I don't even know if you want to call an option because he don't pitch it, he just goes, which is fine. I mean, he leads the
he
team
kind
in
of looks
rushing.
so. I don't know. He looks like he's a little afraid to pitch it,
Yeah,
but
I thought I was like, oh man, I hope he doesn't pitch it because
yeah,
I don't know if he's gonna do it because he hasn't done it.
right.
But he's done a really good job running the ball, leads the team in rushing. And so yeah, if Grant could just not fumble the ball, he reminds me of what's the part on the longest yard? He goes like, I shouldn't have ate that popcorn because his hand was so
Oh
slippery.
yeah, I
So
like.
yeah, that's what
Yeah,
it reminds me of. But yeah, it's we still have a lot of talent, and so I fumbling and taking care of the ball really see how this year's finished. And it'll be interesting to see what they do at Sims because you'd think now for the bye week the word was like, oh, he's not 100%. Well, I mean, he was almost 100%. Then he has 2 more weeks, so you got to think he's 100% by now. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
yeah. You gotta think like Sims is like probably the best athletes on the team. Like think about what when Heinrich quarterback, like they him in like wide receiver or whatever. Why don't we just do him? We kind of need athletic guys out there, especially with the wide receivers going down. So it's like he just put Sims in at wide receiver or some kind of running play
Yeah,
and see if it works. I mean, why not?
yeah, maybe some sort of like wildcat option kind of deal. I don't know because he's such a great runner, but I don't know how you do it because you got to roll with Harburg. Don't you think you can't just go back
Yeah.
to Sims because Harburg's
I'm
turn
not saying
one
go back to Sims. I'm saying we put Sims like in motion. We throw him the ball or
something. Yeah,
something.
get him
We
the
get him
ball.
like, yeah, get him in the end zone. Like, or I don't know. And uh then we had that freshman. His name escapes me, but when Grant went out, he went in and didn't the I think he did he
Oh,
fumble?
Emmett Johnson.
Yeah, Emmett Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
and
just like was like it looked like it just like a basic handoff, but he just
yeah, it was like, but
dropped it.
I almost think like, should we like play him some too? Because that way we give Grant a break, like for a possession or like one player or two,
Yeah,
and we might as well. I mean, our other two running backs are out for the season, so it's like, why not just put him in and see what
yeah,
happens? I mean, we're
yeah,
a running team, so I
yeah,
mean, what do you think of our quarterback leading us in rushing? Like, it's not really I mean, you don't really want to have your
yeah,
quarterback lead you in rushing, really.
yeah. It's I mean, you're 100% right, but dude, you gotta think like that's where we're at, man. Like that's where
Yeah.
Nebraska's at with their two running backs down, Grant being really, really good. Like even Rule said, like, I think he has opportunity to, he could play at the next level if he could hold on to the ball, and so it's not what you want, but this is kind of where we're at. So you just kind of got to roll with it. I mean, we're winning games. So,
Exactly.
but
It's like what Rule said in the press conference. He's like, just enjoy it, man. We won
yeah.
the game. Like, yeah, we have stuff to fix, but hey, we're 3-3. We're not 0-6 like
Uh-huh.
Frost's first year, and like fans
Yeah.
will get mad about stuff, but it's like, yeah, because we're not Michigan.
Uh-huh.
We are Illinois. We are
Yeah.
Purdue right now.
Yeah.
So
So kind of turning it a little bit. So looking into the Big Ten and then the college football playoff, do you think there's some twisting and some new things with the playoff with Clemson struggling, Alabama maybe in and out. Obviously Georgia's going to be there, but like, could you see Florida State making it, Texas or Oklahoma making it, North Carolina? I mean, who knows? I mean, I think Michigan and Georgia are the top dogs right now, but
yeah,
after
Michigan,
that, I don't
Georgia.
know what. I don't know. Michigan beat Ohio State, but what if Ohio State beats Michigan? So
I could see Ohio State and Michigan in the playoffs again, like last year. I kind of hope that doesn't happen. Like, but honestly, like, what about Washington? Washington's
Washington,
really good, and
USC,
Oregon.
Oregon, whoever comes out of
Yeah,
that,
I don't think
USC.
USC will make the playoffs. Their defense is
Yeah.
terrible.
Hey, if
Like,
they run,
did you
if
see?
they run the table, but I don't think
If
they
they
will
do,
with
but they almost
Washington,
lost
Oregon.
to Arizona. I
Yeah.
mean, they had to go to 3 overtimes to beat Arizona. They
Uh-huh.
should have blown Colorado out, and they came back on them.
Uh-huh.
So I just don't. I think like Oregon and Washington and maybe UCLA, just because it's a rival game.
Is
Uh,
UCLA, are they undefeated?
they lost to Utah
Oh, they did.
14-7. So
14-7.
yeah. Oh yeah, and they play Notre Dame this weekend.
Yeah, and Notre
So
Dame, didn't they just
they just lost
to Louisville?
which was honestly a shocker. Like I didn't
Yeah.
know Louisville was ranked until I saw the game.
Well,
I
they're
was like,
undefeated, yeah.
Louisville's ranked,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, congrats to Louisville. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, USC, I don't think will make the playoffs. Oregon and Washington, I think they both could make it, which is crazy because you never think about two Pac-12 teams making the playoffs.
On the last year of the Pac-12 too.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just like the last year they decided
They
to have
might
a
be the
really good
best conference this year,
Yeah. And
and it's done. So, well, I guess Oregon State and Washington State are. I don't know what they're doing there, but and they're doing pretty good too. Washington State and Oregon State have a good program. So,
yeah, Washington State's got a really good quarterback. And
mm-hmm.
then I guess a sleeper in the Big Ten is Penn State.
Yeah.
They're pretty good usually. I don't think they'll beat Ohio State and Michigan. I think they could beat Ohio State,
Yeah.
but not Michigan.
Yeah.
But they could spoil some playoff berths. Notre
And
Dame's obviously out.
North Carolina, they're being like they're sneaky. They got the quarterback,
Yeah.
and it makes me think of last year. So no one saw it coming. Like TCU was really good, and they made the playoff. I don't know if that's North Carolina because they probably still have to face Florida State, but
Yeah.
who never know. So
Yeah. And then the thing North Carolina has going against them is their conference isn't that strong.
uh-huh.
So it's like, will that hurt them?
Yeah.
Or that's why, man, you just wish the 12-team playoff was this year.
Yeah.
Like, especially like
Yeah.
with all the good Pac-12 teams and the SEC teams they got, like Alabama. Like obviously you can't count them out.
Mhm.
It was kind of disappointing to see LSU like they're not going to make the playoffs now.
Yeah.
But Georgia looks like I don't think Georgia looks as good as last year, but they're still like really dominant. Like,
Yeah, it's still Georgia, man. They're still it's
yeah,
crazy how good they were last year. And to say that they're not as good as last year, but they still dominate. It's pretty crazy.
yeah. Like I mean, they're the new Alabama pretty much.
Right.
Which I don't think Georgia and Alabama don't play each other. I think in the regular season
No, because it'll probably be in the championship
Yeah,
unless Bama gets beat again. I don't. Well, it would be. Yeah, it'll probably be a rematch in the championship. So
an upset though you might like. I think is like LSU could beat Alabama again. I think like LSU's defense is not the greatest, but Daniels, their quarterback, is pretty good, and I think Alabama will struggle against him. But
yeah,
that could be an upset. Texas, Oklahoma, that lived up to the hype. That was a good game. I think Texas could still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they definitely could. I mean, they go beat Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship because those two are tough. I mean, the third best team in the Big 12 is probably Kansas. I mean, so it's definitely gonna
Yeah.
be Oklahoma and Texas in the Big 12 championship.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's I think both those teams got a shot. Should be interesting how it pans out, but I'm with you. I think I wish it was the 12 teams.
Yeah, because like think about it, like you would have, Oregon, Washington would be in there. Notre
Hmm.
Dame probably still have a chance, and Notre Dame,
Right.
like
Some of
they're
the
a
two loss
good
teams,
team.
yeah.
Yeah, and like LSU, trying to think, I don't know, maybe like a North Carolina would sneak in.
Right. Yeah.
They would get in, and then isn't it? I don't know I can't remember all the rules, but isn't it like one mid-major team gets in like on the 12th seed or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's like an like I don't know. I guess you could have two, but one automatic of the highest Power 5 team gets in.
And I don't even know that'd be like
So like
Tulane maybe.
Tulane or like James Madison or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
So that would be cool. See Georgia or I don't know if the top four teams get a bye. Maybe I don't know
yeah,
how it
that's it.
works.
The top four get a bye, so they
Yeah,
wouldn't have to play the number one like
you got
Georgia. But
James Madison going to like I don't know play Florida State or something.
yeah, like I mean, and think about like, I mean, look how good it would be for your conference. You get like three or four teams in there, and
Hmm.
then you could like it's just like March Madness. Like who's the toughest conference, and you can decide by the playoffs. But
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
football's hard too, though. It's not like basketball where like you have an off shooting night or whatever. Sometimes if you just have all the powerful players, you can pretty much run the table.
Yeah.
That you've seen, like obvious, like right now, honestly, if we went back to the BCS kind of thing, I would think like it's like Michigan and Georgia and then everybody else.
Yep.
Because I just
Yeah.
think like Florida State's good, but they like barely beat Boston College.
Hmm.
Um, then you got Ohio State, they're good, but not as dominant. Um, Texas just lost. So I don't think there's like four like stacked like these are the core four. It's like
Hmm.
Ohio, it's like Michigan and Georgia, which I would like to see in the championship game because remember when they played a couple years ago and then Georgia just blew them out. Blew
Yeah.
Michigan out. Yeah.
So two questions for you, Wyatt, as we finish up. Is the starting quarterback for Nebraska for next year on the roster right now? Will it be
Oh,
Sims or Harburg next year, or does Nebraska go out and hit the portal for next year?
I'm gonna say it's Heinrich. I'm gonna say he's the guy, man. I mean, you can't just say like yeah, he's gonna struggle. He's a freshman,
Yeah.
so I'd rather have this be. It's perfect, honestly. It's his first year playing quarterback. It's Rule's first year coaching. Let's just get all the negatives out of the way and
Hmm.
fix all the mistakes, and then like he'll have a whole year under his belt of playing. If he wouldn't start next year, it'd be because we have some like there's that kid from Bellevue coming in.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe we hit the transfer. We hit the transfer portal. We need wide receivers. That's what we need. Like,
Hmm.
let's get some wide receivers and offensive linemen. Which
Yeah.
honestly, the offensive line has been playing better this year, so
Yeah.
that's good. But we
Yeah.
still need. But back to the quarterback. Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. As of right now, I think he is our guy. Like, I know we got like killed, but when I saw him play against Michigan, I thought he did like pretty good job passing for the most part. He the Illinois game, he tried to make some good throws, but you gotta remember it was like super windy. So there were a couple passes, like you could tell he threw it pretty well, and the wind just took it and it just kind of sailed away from them. But I think he is a guy, like he's what, 6'5", over 200 pounds, and he can run. And if we just give him a whole off season, you know, to get ready, more consistent. He's got the whole first year under his belt starting. He could be our guy.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, with the transfer portal now, who knows? We get some really good player that just is like amazing. Yeah, like I think he'll have to compete for his job like every year because it's college football, you know.
Yep.
But Sims, does he even have another year?
Yeah, I think he does. He has one more year.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know what Sims would do. Like if I was him, I'd either one, he'd probably one transfer again, or two, like just honestly put him at wide receiver or running back or something.
Hmm.
As long as I think we just need him on the field, especially now because we're running out of wide receivers. So I mean, you could put Purdy as a backup, or I don't know, maybe Purdy's our wide receiver because we're running out of guys. So,
Yeah.
what about you?
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
he's the guy?
I think he's the guy, but I think they'll probably bring someone in too. So that's the thing. So I guess
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, he has
we'll
the whole
see.
year to do it. So
Let's see. Let's see how the second half of the season goes, and we
yep,
can evaluate him more that way.
for
So,
sure. And always go big red.
Red.
What is up? Welcome back to Be Unexpected. And today we have with us Chancellor Brewington. How are we doing today, Chancellor?
I'm great, man. I appreciate you for having me on, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. We've enjoyed the last couple of years watching you at Nebraska and just some like cool moments, bringing the energy. So we're excited to have you on. So, but first off, you want to kind of share what it was like growing up, I believe from Arizona, and just kind of life for you as a young kid, and then leading into middle school and high school.
Yeah, man, it was cool growing up in Arizona. You know, uh, you look back and you get to a certain age. I know I'm not the oldest, right? But you get to a certain age, you kind of understand a little bit of why things happen when you were a certain age. Especially looking back at childhood. I had to grow up early. Uh, there's responsibilities put on me. There was a viewpoint that I gained. Be around 7 or 8, I would say, of just knowing that things aren't going to be perfect all the time. That things aren't always um, roses and flowers and sunshine. There's going to be rainy days, and there's going to be different type of things you have to overcome. And for some weird reason, thank God. But around third, fourth grade, parents got divorced. And it was ugly. Things got ugly. Many times, police were involved in this, and this, right? And I just had to, I had to grow up then, and I had to learn that grace is to be given to people. Grace is to be given to people because grace has also been given to me. So being able to see the world like that, starting at that age, and then you go around and you be around your peers in school and growing up. There's not really it was hard to relate at the end of the day, because
Mhm.
there's certain things I'm dealing with at home, and you know we're on they want in the playground talking about uh you know video games, and real life stuff was happening, right? So I feel like I was always on the mature end of things. As a kid, my mom used to tell me, like, even when I came out the womb, I wasn't a screamer or a talker. I was just a real quiet kid. But just I would just say the perspective going into the junior high years of learning who I want to be. I think that's that's a huge thing for kids nowadays, especially. You got social media, you got all these different things that pull you in certain directions. And it was really a thing where I look back, and some of the people that were uh, around me, either ended up in jail or did this or did and went a certain route, and I could just literally just thank God, because for some reason I didn't. For some reason I just chose, man, for that night I'm not going to be with them, or for that day, or the relationship gets cut off before something happens. So I just thank God that I was able to come out of that the right way.
So then growing up, how did sports help you get through all those challenging times, like just going through middle school and then into high school?
Yeah, it was sports was I was mainly a baseball player. That was what my dad played, so that was where our connection was through baseball. And he was fortunate enough to play. He played with the Giants, played with the Indians, played 12 years total, pro, called up a few times to the actual show, the MLB. But yeah, it got to a point where it felt like the only time I wasn't um consumed with what was going on or whatever was on the field, no matter what, or the court or or I'm just in my room doing push-ups because I just feel like I just want to get better, and where that comes from at 8 years old, I don't know, because no one ever told me to to go in the backyard and work on my swing, or or to go play to it's 9 p.m. and I can't sleep, and all of a sudden I just go outside and start playing, turn on the lights, start playing wall ball, work on my hands for baseball. Like there's certain times where I look back, I'm like, I guess that was always in me to always want to be better for some reason. It was just always in me. I never had my dad or my mom wake me up out of bed and tell me in my whole entire life. I've never had my nobody wake me up and say, we gotta go work out. We gotta like that never happened. So it's always football, football then translated or transition, I would say. My focus started playing football my sophomore year of high school. That was really my first real year. um, Played 1 year at Pop Warner. Mom said it was too how should I say, too physical. She didn't like all the talks about the head trauma and stuff like that. So we didn't. She was like, "Yeah, you're not playing that. Let's just play football. I mean, let's just play baseball and basketball." Baseball is the main sport. Basketball, I just liked I just like being an athlete and getting out there and just having fun. Didn't really take it serious. But then, high school comes, and, by sophomore year, I'm in the premier sports high school in Arizona, got 5,000 kids, and I'm on varsity, baseball, football, and basketball. And I don't have a summer, every moment of my time is sports. Um, I'm I'm around older guys, so I was always forced to be mature, forced to be a person who ultimately has to learn how to fit into crowds. Not conform. I wouldn't say conform, but know how to get along with teammates, know how to be in different crowds, because at the end of the day, my baseball teammates, I was the only black kid on my baseball team. And then, you go to your football team. Well, that's majority. You got most of my teammates was black on my football team, and then you go to basketball. There's an even mixture. So I just always kind of knew how to talk to people, how to fit in, and not conform, but actually fit in.
Mhm. So obviously success in high school for all sports, specifically football. So then talk about the recruiting process and then how you ended up at Northern Arizona.
Yeah, so that was definitely something that was not planned. It actually got to a point where, um, my senior year, I had probably about 12 to 15 offers. They're all Mountain West schools, some some like American Conference schools, nothing of the Power Five level. Um, and then we get probably a month away from signing day, and I wasn't familiar with the process, and I didn't have a lot of guidance in that. And uh, I'm reaching out to schools, and they're saying, we can uphold your offer. We thought you weren't interested, because I didn't know you had to keep in contact with guys, with the coaches and stuff. But all of a sudden, I'm calling San Jose State, I'm calling Fresno State, I'm calling Hawaii, I'm calling um, UNLV, I'm calling Nevada, Utah State, New Mexico State, uh, all these schools, and they're saying, it's literally either a coaching change, or they pulled it, or they won't even respond, right? I'm getting
Mhm.
to a place where I'm like what is going on? What I'm saying? Like I had a decent senior year. I went for 1,000 yards. I you know did my thing, and the film was there, but it just literally felt like everyone else was put in a position to succeed, and I was, my mind, my perspective at the time was like, damn, like why is everyone else getting this and I'm not, and it kind of put me in a place of, uh, it honestly put me in a place of, uh, like back against the wall. It was kind of really my first out, not first, but in a real situation, it was one of the more meaningful times that my back was against the wall, right? In the athletic world. And it was a time to where I had a decision to make. I could either be sorry for myself, I could either look at it as oh, God doesn't want me to play football at the next level, or that I could just turn it up a notch. And when
Mhm.
everyone, when people kind of, experience a hard time, and then all of a sudden, they sit in it, and it's woe is me. And, some people just turn it up. Some people just turn it up, and that's what I chose to do. And during that time, I got a call from Northern Arizona. They're actually my first offer, the only FCS school I had, and I didn't really want to go the FCS route. That was not in my plan by no means. And I get a call from them, and I get a DM from Nebraska at the time, and it's crazy, a full circle moment. I I didn't get to share this story at all ever, but some guy, it was like their recruiting director, said, I'm gonna give you someone's number. I want you to reach out to them, or they're gonna reach out to you. And it was Keith Williams, the receiver coach from a few years ago. He's with the Ravens now, Coach Dub. He's literally a nation known receiver coach. Like, he's coached Devontae Adams, James Jones, Tyreek Hill, all the greats, right? And he was texting me. He was like, what are you thinking about doing? Signing day. And his advice to me was to wait, was to not sign during signing day coming up, and to actually see if one of the Nebraska commits was going to commit. Because he was like, one's on the fence. I like your take. We can make something happen if you don't commit. But if you do commit, best of luck. And so I had an
Yeah.
option, man. I had an option to go. I went to Arizona, and I visited, and I just threw out a soft commitment to have something on the table to fall back on. And I either can throw literally roll the dice and say I'm not committing, um I'm not committing, and take my chance with the words of a man that I don't know. I don't really know, and I can't really trust based on my experience of college football and its recruitment so far. So it got to a point where um, I just signed with Northern Arizona, and because at the end of the day, everyone else was. I think signed is like the first Wednesday in February, the first Monday or something like that. And in the city, uh, a lot of guys had already committed. I think the only guy in the city who didn't commit was Brock Purdy, the 49ers quarterback. He was the
Yeah.
only guy who didn't commit. And our dads played baseball together, and it was like, kind of like, when is Brock going to get his offer? Because he was killing it in high school, but he was just kind of getting overlooked a little bit. And then, he committed late. And, it was always like, I always looked at that situation like, damn, like, I know that had to be, you know, had to be tough in itself, because I knew the pressure and stuff like that
Mhm.
to commit to schools. But yeah, that's how I got to Northern Arizona. And, during that time, I I was the number one FCS recruit in the nation. So, like, going into, because all my offers were Power Five, so not Power Five, but FBS. So the ranking system, I guess I was ahead of people, which
Mhm.
doesn't really matter, but it was
Yeah.
it was cool in itself, I guess. And um, right when I committed, I kind of declared that wasn't going to be my final stop.
Huh.
Right when I got there, I knew, no matter, it's either I'm breaking every record here, or you have these goals and plans and aspirations when you go places. And I was young, hungry, and motivated. Didn't need anyone to pat me on shoulder or pat me on my butt and say good job. I was doing that for myself. And really just approach Northern Arizona with a chip on my shoulder,
Mm.
man.
Yeah, for sure. So, what advice do you give to like high school recruits if you ever talk to them now because of, like you said, the experience you went through, like,
Yeah.
the guidance of reaching out to coaches and, trusting coaches? What advice would you give to a high school recruit today?
Yeah, I would for sure say, um, it's really on the high school coach to offer that counsel, to offer that guidance, to offer those type of things because then they've been through the process. They should know that there's certain things you have to do as a recruit to show mutual interest. They show interest in you. You have to show mutual interest. So I would say talk to people who have been there, talk to coaches, but also remain in contact with schools, no matter if you think you're going to get a bigger school coming in, or you're not really liking them, because the school that you really like could get a coaching change, and your offer get pulled, and now you're out of luck. You know what I'm saying? So I would just say definitely, just keep in contact with coaches, and show interest. You got to play the game at the end of the day. It's a game. It's a game. The coaches play the game. So you have to play the game as well, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. And just like my first thought when you're going through that process with like Hawaii, San Jose State, Fresno, like in my mind, like, gosh, that sounds like a job, and I'm sure like stress and like it might even get to go play in school, and then leading up to Northern Arizona, really doing well there. And then maybe you want to talk about, so you connect back with Nebraska because you transfer there for 2 years. So maybe kind of explain how, like, did you get in back contact with Coach Williams, or
Right.
how did that work?
Yeah. So man, I feel like that time was like a movie, man. But so I guess we got to start at how I was doing at Northern Arizona. I was, freshman year, had a really strong freshman year. Got to start, um, got to really get my feet wet, and it was awesome, man. And then sophomore year, we had like it was rough, man. It was probably the least fun I had playing football. It was challenging. We had four we had we had four quarterbacks. We had three quarterbacks go down in the first 3 weeks of play. So then we had a receiver playing quarterback by week four. It was probably the most challenging thing because I'm coming off a really, really strong freshman year. Like, your sophomore seasons, that's the time to take off. That's the time your numbers triple, your numbers double. The game is slowing down for you, and then all of a sudden, we're in week four. It's like it would be as if Nebraska had lost. I mean, they had lost Jeff, they had lost Heinrich, they had lost Chuba, and now they threw in Billy Kemp at quarterback. That's what it
Mm.
would be like.
Hmm.
And we threw the ball maybe 6 or 7 times a game. From we went from throwing the ball 40 times a game to throwing it 6 or 7 times a
Wow.
game.
Jeez.
And it was one of the hardest things, man. And alongside me was a guy who would later go on to play with the Saints. He was like my big brother there, and we shared a bond that year, and it was tough in itself. Weren't winning games. So then the next year, I'm kind of on my crusade, my my I don't even know my my declaration year, my breakout year, like that, like I'm gonna show everyone that last year, like that those numbers weren't me. If you watch the games, you understood, but those numbers weren't me. So I'm ready to take it over, and I get to summer, and I think there comes a time where um you know, obviously God doesn't bring certain he doesn't cause certain things to happen to you, but he allows them, right? So think it got to a time in the summer going into the year, I got my All-American quarterback. He's coming back. He's healthy. He's ready to he's ready to break a record. We're throwing the ball. Everything's great in the summer, and I'm always the guy who has the extra kick, the extra drive, and for some reason that summer, something was just weighing on me, and I couldn't figure out what it was, um, and it was affecting the way I was. It wasn't affecting, if I was showing up because I already signed that away that I'm gonna show up early, I'm gonna do this. But while I was in the act of stuff, it felt like there's something weighing on me, and it's hard to explain. It's not like a easy explanation, but in this a transparent moment. But one day I'm at home and I just feel like something just come over me, and I'm just like, what is going, like, what, I think every especially as a man, we don't get to share what we're feeling and things like that. But some just came over me, and I'm like, man, I start crying, and but then I just start praying, man, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I just yield to you, and I just want you to take over, right? And uh I, I would say that was probably in July. 2 weeks later, I'm getting ready for camp, and my shoulder just gives out while we're running our routes, and I'm going up for a ball, my shoulder just give out. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm always a healthy dude, never had a surgery, like, and 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 then all of a sudden I go in for MRI. They're like, yeah, your labrum is like torn, like it's almost completely torn. So labrum is like a clock. So labrum goes 1 to 12, right? It's a circle, right? And 1 to 4 is kind of standard tear. Um, 1 to 6 is concerning. You got to get probably surgery. 1 to 8 is damn, and then 1 to 10 or anything above 10 is like that could cause bone deterioration, all this different stuff, right? And I was at a 1 to 10, and it just happened out of nowhere. It happened so fast, and then they're like, you know, I go up to the coach's office, and they're like, "So you want to play through it?" And I'm like, "Well, they just told me that you know, they just told me that if I were to play, I might, it might jeopardize. I might be out for a whole nother year. You know what I'm saying? So, I chose in that moment to get a shoulder surgery, and had to miss the whole year. Had to miss, shoulder surgery 6, 7 months. I had to miss the whole year. That was tough. Uh, but then on top of that, to get even more transparent, because I guess as I'm getting older, I understand that being able to be transparent is also to show strength. You know what I'm saying? And that's something you guys already share with me, y'all stories. So, uh, and somebody's learning through y'all stories, right? So if you weren't to share that, nobody could learn from it, right? But it got to a point where I had a girlfriend at the time, thinking she the love of my life, right? That's thinking she the one, as we all do when we're young, right? I'm 20, not even 21. I'm 20. We've been dating for 3 years, high school sweethearts. Woo, woo, woo. And I got my shoulder surgery, and she there incident happened. Um, Incident happened with a few of my teammates and her. I think we can connect the dots on saying it without saying it, and it turned into this whole situation. Uh, uh, it turned into a actual rape case. It turned into this whole thing. It's a whole left turn, right? So I'm not only dealing with shoulder surgery, but a week later, all this comes out. They get kicked off the team. I'm having to go in front of people for investigation for this, woo woo. And then on top of that, all the receiver that takes my place and the two other receivers, so the slot receiver and the other outside receiver, they all they're going for on pace to go for 1,000 during the year. They're killing it. It's one of the most remarkable offenses in college football at the time. And I'm not a part of it, right? So it just felt like attacks from everywhere. It felt like, you know, in the that whole rape situation, not to say it didn't happen or to say it did happen. That's not my place to say, but you know, that took a whole 6, 7 months. So during my whole shoulder recovery and through the whole season, I'm dealing with that on the side, right? And I'm just feeling like the world is just on me, and you know that things, you know, that everyone is looking at me and everyone knows my situation. You build a was it anxiety?
Mhm.
Is that fear of the future? Right. Yeah, fear of the future. And then, you know, I got social anxiety. I don't want to be out in public. I don't want to be around my teammates because I feel like everyone is judging me or looking at me a certain way. You know, I I I want to go home. You know, I want to go home and just kind of just I just want to leave, right? So then, you know, winter comes and and you know, I get to see my mentor, Toby Wright, man. He's he played at Nebraska, but he's my my best friend, cousin, brother, you know, Javen Wright is his dad, and you know, I'm able to just talk to him through it. And you know, I had some people to lean on, and thank God for them. But my relationship with God got so much more intimate because there was already a relationship there, but it got more intimate, and there was actual a reliance on from me to him. There was like I don't know how I'm gonna get through this day. You know, it got start getting day by day. Like, man, I just want to go to bed right now. You know, I got things I got to do, but I just want to sleep this away. And then, you know, my reliance started to be put in him, and uh, you know, I just felt like I was battle tested, and I came out the right way. And then so we go into the next year, then COVID happens. So COVID happens, and I'm um, they send us all home, and you know, I have the most motivation I've ever had in my life. I've I have this crazy wild story with a girl that I thought, you know, the heartbreak story, the betrayal, the loyalty aspect of it being you know, diminished or incinerated or whatever you want to call it. And then you got the pain from the football, you know, missing that, missing whatever, feeling like they forgot about me, feeling like this, whatever, right? So I go into COVID, and you know, I'm more focused than ever. I kind of set out, you know, I'm journaling, I kind of set out that I'm gonna be the most dedicated you know, athlete in the world. Like that's how I'm thinking. Like there's no one that's gonna do more than me. And that's why I was thinking. And then you know, I get to COVID, and they send us all home, right? They sent us all home, and um we were able to I got a group of guys, man, that we just really hit it hard, and we put everything we had into into training, into becoming better people, better men. Man, we would work out. We would work out, you know, bright and early at 7 a.m., you know, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 6:30 some days, you know, and then come back for a Bible study in the same gym. Come back for a Bible study in the same gym. Go eat, come back, work out again. You know, go stretch at night, do yoga on or not yoga, do stretching on Wednesdays, and just Saturdays on the like literally everything we were doing was consumed by like us getting better. That's literally all we were doing. And it was a good like 2.5, 3 months, and you know, my body changed. I'm back. So I go back up to Northern Arizona, and our season gets canceled. So there's no more fall season for FCS, right? So I got the opportunity to represent our team and go and to the Big Sky Conference and talk to them about you know, do we want to play in the spring? Do we want to do this? We opted to play in the spring, so we're practicing all throughout the fall. While I think Nebraska played like 5 or 6 games during the fall, we were to play in the spring. So I'm in the best shape of my life, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I'm training, and then we're doing a power clean day. I'll never forget this day. It changed the direction of my life. It changed. It literally. We have those moments where we look back and like that was one of those. I was supposed to be there, no matter if I liked it or not. That was supposed to happen. And I I I was power cleaning 315 on, and I slip out of my shoe mid power clean set, and I dislocate my left wrist and I break my right wrist at the same time, right? And you know, the, I literally could have died during that. It got caught on my neck. I was able to have someone there, and it was all from I executed the lift. I executed it right, but my foot slipped. So like it was like that needed to happen, right? And so uh um, I went and got surgery on my left wrist. They told me that I probably shouldn't play football no more because they said the only time they see that injury would be if someone was driving and were going above 40, 50 miles per hour, and they ran into a tree. The way the wrist snaps back, and so all my ligaments in there were then severed. I had to get them reattached, and just I think there was like two surgeries in that, and then so uh I still have this chip on my shoulder, and I'm declaring that I'm gonna play in the spring. So there was supposed to be a 10 month recovery, and I go and I do it, and I execute it in like 3 or 4 months, man. And it's not all the way good, but I'm back practicing. So I don't even go to the doctors because they're like, what the hell, like what is going on, right? And so I'm able to play a little bit, and then all of a sudden I see my right wrist swell up, and I go get X-ray on it, and that one's broke. It's been broke for ever since it happened. So in that moment, I damaged both wrists, but I didn't know it was my right one at the time. So I go get surgery on that, and then uh, as I'm getting surgery, I go back home, and I'm kind of in talks with my uncle, and he's like, "Hey, like, you ever think your time is done there? Like, you ever think it's time to move on from there?" And I, you know, I was kind of like, nah, nah, nah. And then I went home, and it just weighed on me, weighed on it. And the story goes, I went to we kind of just went out here on faith, and he was like, we're gonna go to the spring game. And I'm like, okay. So we go to the spring game, 2021. We go to the spring game out here, COVID spring game, I think it's limited attendance, whatever. And we come out here, and I can't say I want to protect some people, so I can't say exactly what happened, but um, they knew who I was after that, right? So it was just it was literally like written out of it was literally like a movie, bro. Like it was
Mhm.
like a how I got here was a movie. All of a sudden, you know, I'm I'm literally turning my emails off from other schools because I'm like I'm supposed to be at Nebraska, like that, like I'm supposed to be here. So I'm not even entertaining offers from any other schools. I don't even get it. I don't even look at my Twitter or nothing. Like I don't I'm just literally like, hey, I'm going to Nebraska. However this needs to work, it's gonna work. So then, I eventually get up here, and and that is how I got here.
Wow.
Oh, that's a crazy story, man. Like
Yeah.
through all the adversity you've been through, what what's the one thing you really like? You said your faith got stronger, but you think going through adversity, like it makes you just a stronger person in general? Because everyone knows like football and life is really hard. So, do you think everything happens for a reason, or what's your thoughts on just facing adversity and how it can help
Man,
you in life?
yeah, I think me and my cousin was actually talking about this. And I think to become, how should I say, a great man, a man of character, a man of moral, a noble man, I think there has to be some type of battle testing, of going through the fire, um of suffering, of pain, of heartbreak, heartache, adversity, obstacles, trials, tribulations. Um, there has to be I think it has to be that,
Mhm.
because every great man or great individual I've been around, by man I can say man or woman, or male or female, I mean both by saying man, um, has been through something and they chose to go through it the right way.
Mhm.
And they were able to gain, um, the attribute, um, or 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 good fruit. They were able to produce good fruit through that trial, right? And I think the way to look at it is, you can't, I cannot eat the tree off of my own fruit. I can't eat the fruit off of my own tree. Yes. So that's for other people to do. Other people reap off of the things I've been through and the things I've overcome, and the person I am today. People eat off of that. And they're able to see that, and just like this, they're able to hear it, and maybe that helps them. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the perspective I have on pain and suffering and whatever. Don't get me wrong, it's not fun to go through. Like,
Mhm.
if there could be a way, which there isn't, so you can't even talk about it, but if there is a way to become something without going through something, yeah, I guess that'd be the easy way. But there's no, you have no equity, that you have no blood, sweat equity in what you don't, there's no meaning to you. Feel like when you haven't been through something. I'll take a man who's been through something and has wisdom through it, than any type of money, any type of um you know any type of luxury. I'll take the man of wisdom. I take that any day. But yeah, being able to help people, but there's also a flip side to that, and I don't think a lot of people talk about this, but um, if you were to go through something, there, in that moment, you have a choice. There's a choice. I know you guys have shared briefly your guys' stories, but if you guys chose to uh to say woe is me, to say, I can't, I'm never going to be able to get through this, I'm just going to have a terrible perspective on life now. um you wouldn't be offering the world anything. You wouldn't be offering your peers anything. But you guys obviously have chosen to look at it the right way. And I think by looking at it the wrong way, you actually produce bad fruit, and you become a bad tree, and people can eat bad fruit off your, so just to have that perspective through it, I think that's the main thing. And then it, it becomes a domino effect. Then they eat your tree and they produce good fruit, the cycle keeps going, and it all comes down to perspective shift of how you look at your life and what you're going through.
Yeah, I really loved how earlier you shared and when it really you developed your relationship with Christ and how much you realize on your own, independent on yourself, like you're nothing, and how weak we are and how much we need that daily, like you're telling, it was like a daily thing, like you're going out there daily working. And so yeah, that's what I'm just like,
Yeah,
so like your relationship with Christ in those moments really, really grew. And so that's really awesome to hear.
yeah, for sure. It got to a point where, um, like you said, you just feel weak. You feel like, um, although I feel like I'm a strong person,
Hmm.
life sometimes just make you weak, but in your weakness, that's when Christ is strong for
Hmm.
you. So there needs to be a struggle for power to be displayed in your life and on your life. So uh man, it's kind of like it's kind of, I look at it and smile. Some people, like, you know, I might tell a girl about it or someone who's very, you know, emotional about it. They might start crying or, oh my God, you know, whatever. But then it's like, I'm, that's why in James chapter 1 it says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you go through trials of many kinds, knowing that the testing of faith produces perseverance, and perseverance must be complete, so you will be complete and lacking nothing. So like that, that's why um it's always important to have the perspective. Like it's literally when a trial happens, it should there should be a point of where you're joyous. There should
Mhm.
be a point where you know, you obviously there's a stage of grieving. We saw that Jesus grieved himself when, you know, John the Baptist got killed. He was grieving himself, right? But then there's a point where your perspective shifts, and you know, then he went and fed, you know, 5,000 people with the loaves of bread and fish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a shift in perspective that we always have to have, right?
Yeah. Man, it's got scripture written all over you. I love it, man. Hey, so right now you just kind of share a little bit what you're up to. So kind of share with us as we close here what you're up to now, and just kind of like like obviously you're a goal oriented guy, what you're looking forward to in coming months and years.
Yeah, so right now I'm training for the XFL and USFL just merged. So I'm training for that. I'm training for how should I say, that in itself, able to play there and do my thing, and get to where I need to go next year, following, so getting into camps, you know, getting back in the league, and doing my thing there. And you know, I'm doing the YouTube on the side. It's been awesome to see it grow. It's been awesome to interact with fans. It's been awesome to share a little bit of my story, but keep it fun, and then,
Mhm.
you know, get serious when we need to. But you know, I just like it, man. There's a lot of people who do the YouTube stuff, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, you know, I could do that, but the way I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it in a real sense. So everything on it is gonna be real. There's gonna be no fake, and there's gonna be no doing it for clicks, doing it for this. Is just gonna be real, because that's all I know, man.
So do you do that? I've seen some clips for it. Like, is that a live thing you do during like the game, or because I see like there's a little like you'll react to plays and stuff.
Yeah, so it's more so like I'll do it like I think eventually I'm gonna do them live. So like
Okay.
I'm gonna have people like come watch the game with me, and I'll be able to commentate on it. But for right now, it's kind of like a few hours after the game, I go and react to the highlights, or I react to the full game, and I'll just from a I'll watch it like a football player watching film. I won't watch it like a fan. I'll literally just break it down that way, and and do it like that. But you know, you know, it's not just me on there. We're kind of showing a different perspective of some other than Nebraska football players. But the
Mhm.
channel is called Delayed Not Denied. So
Sweet.
you know, that's you know, that basically kind of sums up what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
although something, you know, something, you know, terrible happens, that's not the end for you. There's still greatness. There's still you know, your destiny. You're still gonna achieve it. But the path might be a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
For
well,
sure.
awesome. Thanks for joining us, Chancellor, and sharing your story, the good and bad, how you got to where you are, and just all of it. We really do appreciate it. It's not easy at times, that's why I know, but we appreciate it and definitely impactful.
Yeah. Thanks.
Man, I appreciate it too, man. This was it's like a little therapy session,
Yeah.
man.
We
Yeah.
appreciate it, man. We'll have a good one and go Big Red.
Yep, you too, man.